Good evening and welcome to our second session where we will be attacking this June 2016 question 1. We had a bit outstanding from last night, so as participants join, we will be looking to complete that question. So let me go to the share screen. June 2016 question 1. Share that. Let's see what we can get done here. So, yeah. Let me see. People might need a room number. 55. People are jumping in. I was just about to type the room number in, wondering if people didn't have it yet. Right. So, welcome. And again, Anita said they may not have electricity. We don't know how long. And she therefore may be jumping in a bit late. And as per usual, good night, Amara. As per usual, we are recording them. And I would have to try and post this as soon as tonight's sessions is over. So once more, we are continuing with this June 2016 question 1. Let me see if I relabel that on the top here. We could grab this and move this up with a bit, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, that might be in my way. I'll move that back later. On this other side, did I label it here? June 16 question 1. I'll just copy that label, throw that across here. So I have a fresh copy of the question as we're doing these other little bits for tonight. So hopefully people spend some time on this. Let's see how quickly we can get this done. This part 3 for 8 marks. Wow, that's a lot of stuff for 8 marks. So again, let's see what we can do. Using the information on dividends provided from B part 1 and B part 2, assess whether another project would add value to Lir Co. So, information on dividends provided. Let's go back and just read that quickly, and then I will get ideas from the room. What the heck is this really trying to tell us? So here we have our dividend history, and we need to go through here to try and get our part 3 done. Now, this is one thing I want to illustrate for the case, the 50 marker case question, that they are giving you sections of the case. So you don't really have to read the whole case twice and 3 times. Once you do one overview of the case, you're going to be breaking it up into the sections which are relevant to each parts of your requirement, and you're attacking it one requirement at a time and one section at a time. All right. So going back here again, dividend history. Expected dividends as well as cost of capital. All 3 things. So year-end, total dividends paid, expected dividends will grow at the historic rate. Did they give us that rate? Anybody who read the question? Did they give us that historic rate of growth? No, they did not. They did not, and therefore we have to calculate that. Right? So basic growth computation. This time, not finding G using Gordon growth model. And we remember the components of Gordon's growth model. Again, we did it in the study school quickly. Something starting with R. There's that R word I just want you to remember when you're doing Gordon's growth model. That's something rate. So it's 2 R's. Something rate. Which, of course, we are not using here. So we don't require Gordon's here because we have the actual dividends paid across a time period. So we're going to use a good old 1 plus 1 plus something to the power of n. I forget that calculation, but don't worry. We'll get it back as we go to the end. All right, so my internet seems to have crashed there temporarily. And you are the host now. Okay, so let's go back to share the screen. And we are back. Yeah, sharing the screen here. So we're back here and open back up the chat. B times RE, right. So yes, thanks for that, Kenisa. So that would have again been the bits for Gordon's root. But the RE, what is the RE? Is it the RE? Or is it the B? There's another, the description is what I'm waiting for. It's a something rate. And that R word. Not rate of return. It's another rate we need. Yes, Amar, it's a retention rate. Thank you for that. So other questions, they give you the retention rate in all sorts of funny ways, so you have to watch out for that. They could tell you the amount that they spend on investments in a company, or the percentage of FCFE that they spend on investments. That's what they retain. Because if that's a percentage of FCFE, in other words, the FCFE is what's available to the shareholders and what they can pay out, right? Yeah, so RE is rate of return. So I was looking for that rate. Oh yeah, well, two of them have rate, but yeah, it was the other one I was looking for. Good. So yeah, they give you that in all sort of funny ways. So again, it's to remember these things and watch out for them. And in this case here, we have the basic goal where we'll need to find the growth with a number of growths and find our, what was the formula we use for this again? How do we find the growth when we have a list of dividends paid? So we cannot use B times RE here. Nobody? Nobody remembers that formula? Come on. I have two bodies in the room. And we got to move some computations here tonight. Yes, movement from 13 to 16. In other words, long formula. No, that's not a long formula. That's a short formula with square root, or to the power of 1 over n. So the square root of something divided by something. Not square root. How many growths? How many growths is in a value of n? So you identify value of n and just take the n root of something over something, which illustrates the movement that Kenisa mentioned. So Kenisa mentioned the movement. How do we throw that? N is 3, very good. And 3 coming from, if I were to just punch some little lines here, 3 coming from the movement. There's one movement here from 13 to 14, 2 movements from 14 to 15, and only 3 movements from going 15 to 16. So that is exactly what indicates that n is equal to 3. And what else we doing with these two numbers Kenisa mentioned? Movement from 13 to 16. What are we going to do with that? Divide. Divide who by who? Excellent. I was waiting for somebody to say that. New over old. Beautiful. And that is how you find returns, right? The level of returns as such, which is basically what we're doing here. So your growth is going to be determined. Now, don't forget, therefore, it will be the new over the old with to the n root. Don't forget, there's one little thing in a formula. Oh, that last n didn't come out so nice. Let me try and fix that. One other little thing in the formula. So after we find the n root of the new over old, come on, don't forget the last point. So that's common n in front. Okay, very good. Minus 1. Amar, are you aware of this computation of finding g during this long way? No? Oh my goodness, Amar. I will give you then the textbook reference. Textbook calculation here for finding growth. Growth. Where's my... Now, Amar, you have your software, right? CDFG, growth and dividends, page 211. Let's see, 211 if it has it. Where's the other page? to 11 to 12. Yeah, it's right there on page 211, Amar. So you pull that up and estimating the growth rate. Very, very, very important to be able to do, right? So G is your n root of new over old. Take away the 1 after you do the n root, and you're good to go. Right, so that's what we'll be plugging in here, and we'll have that point. Then expected dividends, if the large project is undertaken. So your data here now is separating into 2 parts. So you have 1 with the project, and you have 2 without the project, right? So you have all this fancy stuff, and then this cost of equity. And how pray tell now, with all of this information that we just broke down and got excited about calculating G, how are we going to answer this question? What is all of this helping us to do? The question we are facing is, using the information on dividends provided and all of the other stuff, assess whether or not the project would add value. How are we going to get value from this thing? And this now forms part of your narrations. So if you outline what you're going to do, then start throwing computations at it, this is what we want. Come on. Adding value. Where would this added value come from? We're not doing value added technique. We're not doing that. We don't have cash flows for that. So throw that out of your minds if anybody was typing that. How are we going to get 8 marks here? Come on. Come on. Quickly. No ideas? If you have no ideas, type no. Type something. Let me know. Where are we going? 1 no. Aye. All right. So the biggest hint here is back up here. Oh, it's this word right here. So we'll have to look at dividends. Could we use dividends to find out value? What value could we get from dividends? What element of the phrase value can dividend help us to get? Come on. Logic it out. Talk to me. What element of value can dividends get you? Dividend yield, that's one kind of a thing, yeah. Keep going. Keep going. EPS is still warm. EPS is around the area again. Think dividend, think value. Come on. Think mergers and acquisitions then. And some of those aspects in there would help us get warmer as to what we're going to be looking at. Dividends versus value. PE ratio, yeah, still warming up. Keep going. Come on, Amar. When you're talking value, if you want to use your mics, go right ahead. Oh, that's somebody jumping in. Who was this? Oh, where's my participants? That was Stacy. Good night, Stacy. How are you? Did you get a chance to read this question? Dividend valuation model on fire. That is the fire that we are looking for. All right. Does it make sense? Stacy, can you hear me? Stacy's not responding yet. Maybe she's not set up. Amar, does dividend valuation model make sense? And looking at what we're doing, we already identified up here that we could find the G. And once you have G, then we can run that DVM model. Amar's not responding either. Yeah, so value coming out from the DVM model is what? What value are we pulling out of the dividend valuation model? So that is exactly where we're going. Come on. How is it still going to help us? How is it going to help us identify value added? Value of what is the dividend valuation model valuing? Has the word value in it. Value of what will we get from DVM? Come on, we're almost there. Your fire is burning. This is one little piece again. Dividend valuation model gives you the value of what? Oh, Stacy, somebody had bumped out of the room. Who was it? Yeah, it was Stacy. That's why she wasn't answering me. Come on. Come on, people, rack the brains. Value of the business, close, very close. What determines the value of the business? Exam is Friday, people. Come on. You all know all this stuff. DVM gets you the value of the business. How? What from the DVM gets you the value of the business? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to find the value of the business before and after. How is the DVM giving you the value of a business? What specifically is it calculating for us, which can be construed as the value of the business? Come on. Cost of equity. No, now you're getting colder. No. We ain't going down K. It's just the DVM. DVM gives you what? Having calculated a DVM or write out the formula. Yes, what is the PO? Put PO into description now. That's exactly what we're looking for. Is the share price. So can we now see that the share price coming from the dividend valuation is the value of the company? So let me start typing now. So to complete the answer, we are going to simplify the value of the company before the project, value of the company after the project, story done. Right? So what reference am I referencing here? Is everybody following that now? Two bodies? Right, so you could start up, don't have to wait for me. This is pt4. pt4. Let's start typing with our narrations. Narration, which will get you your marks quickly. So after you sit there racking your brains, you could have probably done the growth calculation quickly, and then you need to rack your brains. And once you have solved that, then you get going, right? But you have to now have spent that time in the exam sorting that out. pt4. Using dividend information to find added value from project. We can use the DVM model to obtain the share price of L before the project. Then, using the additional information, and FCFE, we can find, again, via DVM, the value of L after value of L share price after project. The difference will be the indication of the added value, either on a per share basis or using the number of shares it company, the increase in value can be found on a total basis. But of course, in our mode of getting the least working done, we will stop with simply the share values and the value of one share. Because no matter, I don't think there was any new shares being issued on a total basis. Good. So with that, let's start up. First section, without the new investment. So let's begin. First element we're looking at, finding J. Growth rate. Without investment, using historical dividends as told. We know that G will be equal to, as we did before, the n root of the new dividend or newest dividend over oldest dividend, where new equals 2016, oldest was from 2013, and therefore n was equal to 3 periods of growth. Right, so once we have that n, turn our values in, G was equal to the cube root of, taking our values in here now, cube root of, let it run away, cube root of number of shares. So we have the number of shares, total dividends paid. Would we need to find dividends per share, or can we throw those total dividends in there? What do we think? No. That's a good guess, but you will get it wrong because it is on different number of shares. So can you mention it up above, that we have to find the dividend per share, DPS, right? So I think she mentioned EPS, but it's unfair in 1 year to look at total amount of dividends because it's based on a different number of shares, right? So it needs to be consistent. So throw in our DPS first before we throw it into the formula, and let's go and take note of that up here. Right. Since, the number of shares changed. Now, this is where I was saying there's so much of these little elements to take in consideration for this 8 marks. It's kind of ridiculous. Since the number of shares change between 2013 and 2016, we need to find the dividends per share to use in the formula above. So quick computation there. DPS 2013 equals the amount of dividends divided by an amount of shares. Where are we going with that? 12, everything in thousands. 12,832 over 60,000. Dividends per share 12,832 over 60,000. Somebody punch that for me. And the next one, DPS 2016. 0.21. Yeah, I could use 3 decimals, you know, because it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, let's go with 3 decimals. 214. And 2016 values 80,000 and 2377 over the 80,000. 2377 over 80,000. 0.255. Correct. All right, now throw those up here. If the number of shares remain the same, that's correct. Only if the numbers of shares remain the same. So you have to compare like with like, and that would be correct. So 2016 over 2013, 255, 214. 214. Right, and somebody give me the value of J now. Oh, wait a minute, don't forget you have to minus 1 after you've done all of that. So you can work that through. Punch it through carefully in the calculator, get me the J value. Route. So you can have it as a decimal and then multiply by 100 and you'll get it as a percentage. Come on, come on. We can stick 6.02. Yeah, so that's a lot of decimals. So if we cut that to 3 decimals as we were dealing with before, we will have our final answer as our 0.060, and that would indicate 6%. So if you work with it 6.02, that'll be fine. But that little O2 is not going to make any difference. Great. So moving on. Any queries at this stage? All we found was G. And that looks so hard because we had to get the dividend per share. Wow. That is such stress. And Anita never came back. Oh no. I mean, Stacy. All right. Hopefully, again, well, we are recording. So I will have to definitely load these quickly tonight. Where we going next? Now that we found a G, how is that going to help us? It's expected the dividend will grow at a historic rate if a large project is not undertaken. All right. So if dividends growing at a historic rate, what now will our be or value of the company? Which dividend will we now be growing? We have to get a dividend to grow it. We need to look for some more information. Which dividend can we grow now? So now that we have the rate of growth, which dividends? Which dividends? Which dividends? Good night, Sissy, and welcome. You will live long. I now called your name in the room there, saying that you did not come back. And after having said that, Stacy is back. Right. So, did you get time to read this question, Stacy? Great. So we're doing this dividend business. We went through at length trying to figure out how the heck we're going to use dividend to do valuation. And did you find, or did you figure that out? What are you going to do with dividend to get the valuation? Sissy? Right, or 10 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes warning is up. So we went through discussions with that and we came up with dividend valuation model. So if we use it, if we have the information to do the dividend valuation, we value it before. And what would, again, I need to ask you this last question. What does dividend valuation calculate for us? When we run that formula, what does it get us? Come on, DVM. While the others are scanning the question and trying to find for me which dividend are we going to grow. What did it tell us about dividends again? Come on, Sissy. What does DVM calculate? You must have a clue about that. I know don't have a clue as to the previous question. DVM calculates the value of a, come on, Sissy. DVM calculates the value of a, look back at your formula if you have to. My internet is unstable, so it's either gonna knock me off, reconnect, so I'm back. So my apologies for that. Some reason my internet seems to be a bit unstable tonight and it's jumping on and off. I don't know what to do for that. And back to meeting. Back to meeting. Come. Right, clicking this to share my screen. Share my screen. Oh, come on. Back to meeting. All right, all right, all right. Hello, is anybody there still? Right, chat. So, is everybody here? Yeah. So my internet seems to be going on and off. I'm wondering if I should take a moment and restart the modem. If it happens again, I will do that. Right. So this time I was trying to type a message there, and by the time I finished typing the message, I got back into the room. So if that happens, we'll just hang on a few minutes and that'll take me about 3 to 4 minutes to restart that modem. But I wouldn't do that now. Let's keep our fingers crossed and we should have access as we go through. So, excuse me. I was asking Stacy before I got bumped off. What does DVM calculate for Stacy? And in the meantime, when I got bumped off, were people still in the room or did you get bumped out of the room? Okay, you all were still there. Okay, that's great. So come on, Sissy. And people who should have been thinking of my other question, what are we going to grow? Excellent. We're going to get the value per share. So therefore, that's what we're going to use to calculate and to answer the question. And I put it as usual in my notations at the beginning. So we are going to find value of the share before and value of the share after, using these dividends before and after the project investment, and that's where we're going. So we were at the stage where we found a growth, and now I'm asking, what are we going to use that growth rate to grow? Come on. Come on. So what are we going to plug in? In other words, somebody could quickly then tell me why you're trying to figure that out. Somebody could quickly tell me what is the DVM model? How do I find now share price? Excuse me. So over here. Come on. Define the value of a share. Yes, it's in the formula sheet. And somebody think about what are we going to be growing. So SO, or share value. Let me see if I can grab my formula sheet here. I should have it close to this thing. SO is, nope, not on that page. Equals, okay, got booted out again. Right, back. SO, PO. Well, you could say PO. So let us change that SO to PO, what we have in the formula sheet. So PO, share price, now is equal to the DO times 1 plus G over the RE minus G. Right? So in other words, we're growing this dividend. PO is the value now, DO is the current level of dividend. So what will we use for the DO? That's right, we will use the 2016 dividend per share, DPS 2.55. So plug that in. We are given the RE KE of, what was KE given?